How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to CyberDemon Gaming. My name is Matt, and as you can see, we're back playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Now, I can't help it. I am a Magic player. I enjoy playing Magic the Gathering. It is one of my favorite card games. And I've tried some other ones, but this one, I always comes back to this one. And the fact that Magic the Gathering Arena is out there now, and I can basically play whenever I have time and just kind of go into it, well, that makes my day. So I have a new deck for you guys, one that I've been playing, and we're going to go ahead and give it a shot and see how things go. Let me bring it up here. Now, I call this Sultai Ramp. Other people call it other things. So we're going to get into this. This is a best of three deck. You can do it best of one, but it's not necessarily something that you want to do with a deck like this. So, Sultai, of course, is green, black, and blue, which means there's three colors, lots of mana fixing, and we're going to see how things go. What this deck does is bring down big creatures, and hits you pretty hard, pretty quickly, while stopping the other player from doing whatever they need to do. So let's see what we got. And it's also dealing with mana ramp really, really fast. So I'll show you what it does, and we'll go from there. We start off with 3 Paradise Druids. It's 1 green, 1 colorless. It's a 2/1. It has hexproof as long as it is untapped, which is really good. And if you tap it, you can tap it for 1 mana of any color. Now it is a 2/1, so it can be a cheap blocker if you need it. Most of the time you're not going to want to block with it, but in dire straits it does work. Then we also start off with 2 Aether Gusts. Aether Gusts are making a very popular delve into Magic right now because some of the higher echelon of Magic players and championships have used it to, well, great effect. I've talked about this before. It's got 1 blue, 1 colorless. It's an instant. Choose target permanent or spell that is red or green. Its owner then puts it on top or bottom of their library. Then, of course, we have, since we are playing blue and black, which always deals with seeing what the other person has in their hands, I call this the Show Me What You Got package. And that is 2 Agonizing Remorses, which is 1 black, 1 colorless. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or from their graveyard, and you exile that. Then you lose 1 life. Now, this is really good when you deal with stuff that has escape, or they have a creature that they're going to bring back with Elspeth Conquers Death, or a Planeswalker that they're going to bring back. So, the second part of that Show Me What You Got package is, of course, Thought Erasure. Now, why are we only running 2 of the Agonizing Remorses and 4 of the Thought Erasures? That's a good question, but the reason why is because of that Surveil 1. Now, it's always good to see what you have coming up next in your library. The problem is we're not really worried about it. What we want is we want to dump shit into the graveyard, and I'll get to that in a second. Thought Erasure, 1 blue, 1 black, and target opponent reveals their hand. Show me what you got! And you choose a non-land card from it, and that player discards that card, and then you Surveil 1. Then we have some early game defense, not a lot of it. I mean, the Aether Gust, and then this, of course, kind of scoring does help. It's 1 black, 1 blue also, and it's an instant. You get to choose 1 of 2 things. You can destroy a target creature that's converted mana cost of 3 or less, which actually does take care of a lot of big creatures that are out right now. Or you can return a target creature to its owner's hand. This also means yours as well, if you need to. And then we run 4 Hydroid Crasises, the Jellyfish Hydra Beast. 1 blue, 1 green, and X. Now, it has flying and trample. When you cast this spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards rounded down each time. So if you cast it for 3, so it's 5, but it'll come out as a 3/3, but you only get 1 life and 1 card. So you always kind of want to do it on an even number. And when it comes into the battlefield, it has X +1/+1 counters on it. Now, here's the cool thing. They may counter it. Say you do it, you know they have a counter spell, they're not going to want the creature out, but you're not really worried about that. You cast it for 8. Well, that means you draw 4 cards and you gain 4 life. it doesn't matter if they counter it or not. The effect happens. It's when you cast it. Then move over into the 3 mana spell slot, and we only have 1 card there, and it happens to be 4 of them. It's our good friend Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 colorless. When he enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it has escaped. Whenever Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's a lot of stuff for 1 card. There's only 2 of them, and they're the new Titans, like Primeval Titan and Frost Titan and all of those. Now, how it escapes? Well, it's 2 green, 2 blue, and then you exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. Now, that's why we want the Surveil, not necessarily the Agonizing Remorse. Can you take out 1 Thought Erasure for 1 Agonizing Remorse? Sure you can. There's no problem with that, if that's how you want to roll. But most of the time, you want the Surveil to get the cards into the graveyard. So you can exile 5, bring Uro out, no problem. We want 4 of him. Then, move on to the 4 converted mana cost slot, and we have Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths. Why is it Half-Truths? Well, it's in his ability. He likes to lie. He costs 1 black, 1 blue, 2 colorless. He's a 3/2. Decent guy. He has Menace. Even better. It means he can't be blocked by 1 creature. When Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths, enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. You can have a pile that is 0. So say you want to show your opponent that all they got was lands. Well, you can put that all in the face-up pile. If they take all 3, they take all 3. But mainly what you want to do with Atris is you want to get, a lot of the times what you're going to do is you're going to take the 1 pile. Now, there are players out there who try and get sneaky, put something that you would want in the 1 pile, or put something that you don't want in the 1 pile. But it's basically put cards in the graveyard, bring out Uro, have fun. We run 3 of him. The next card I haven't used much of, but when I have used him in play in this deck, is always a beast, and he happens to be a zombie and a Hydra. I don't know how that really works, but you know, it's Polychronos Unchained. He is a zombie Hydra. Polychronos enters. He costs 1 black, 1 green, 2 colorless. It's a beast of a card. Polychronos enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. When it escapes, with 12 counters on it instead. This is an escape card. If damage would be dealt to Polychronos while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters. Now, there's an Abzan list somewhere out there in the ether that I'm sure abuses, you know, gaining life with Helios and putting counters on Polychronos to keep him basically a beast. And this is why he's a beast. He has an ability. 1 black, 1 green, 1 colorless. Polychronos fights another target creature. Seems badass, right? Well, it's because it's an instant speed, so getting rid of things is really nice. And then, of course, he escapes for 1 green, 1 black, 4 colorless, and exiling 6 other cards from your graveyard. Now, we only run 1 of him. The reason why is because we already have 4 other cards that deal with getting stuff out of your library or out of your graveyard and exiling them. It does have a problem. You can come across where you're trying to decide whether you want Uro or Polychronos to come out, and you may need to get rid of some things. And there's no better way of getting rid of things on your side of the board and your opponent's side of the board than Massacre Girl. Massacre Girl is a legendary creature. She is a human assassin, covered in blood, black and red. You know those are my favorite colors. She's 2 black, 3 colorless. We run 2 of her. She has Menace, and she is a 4/4. That's pretty badass right away. So she can't be blocked by 1 creature alone. Has to be 2. Most of the time they'll chump block with 2 small creatures to try and kill her off. It happens. When Massacre Girl enters the battlefield, each other creature gets a -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, Each creature other than Massacre Girl gets another -1/-1. So that's really cool. That's really good, and it's very powerful. I have pulled my ass out of the fire against mono red decks and some white blue decks because you can't protect your Dream Trawler from the -1/-1s. We've run 2 of her. She is a board wipe, but it also wipes your board and keeps 1 creature up. And then we have Nissa, who shakes the world. We run 3 of her. Nissa is very powerful, especially in this format. She costs 2 green, 3 colorless. Planeswalker. It's the only Planeswalker we run. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional forest. That's her static ability. Really good. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it, it becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste. It's still a land. So you get a 3/3 doodad. Comes out 3/3 counters on it. It can swing right away, take out a Planeswalker, take out a creature, or just swing in for 3, and you still have a blocker. Then we have her -8. Now you don't necessarily always get to this, because they try and kill her or get rid of her as soon as possible, or before you get to it, your opponent has a good chance of scooping. You get an emblem with lands you control have indestructible. Alright, cool. Search your library for any number of forest cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So you filter out all of your forests, and that means your dual lands, your overgrown tombs, and your breeding pools as well. All come out onto the battlefield, and you filter out a bunch of stuff that is going to interrupt you while you're playing. So if you can get her to this, awesome. Now, the next one we run 2 of. It's not necessarily a board wipe, but it does help. There are times I wish it got rid of more than 1 creature, but Casualties of War. This is a big cost card, but I've gotten it out as soon as turn 3. It does happen. Casualties of War, 2 green, 2 black, 2 colorless. You can choose 1 or more. Destroy target artifact, destroy target creature, destroy target enchantment, destroy target land, and destroy target Planeswalker. Very rarely have I had to choose all 5. The most I've ever had to choose is 4. This card is very annoying. It does stop Elspeth Conquers Death and any of the Planeswalkers, as well as getting rid of a land. It also takes care of those pesky Witches' Ovens if you're surviving long enough against those decks. I've come up against a couple of those, and Casualties of War, plus the life gain and everything that I get, tends to keep me abreast of the situation, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, like I said, 3 colors of mana, which means a lot of mana fixing. So we run 2 islands, 1 swamp, 4 forests. Not bad, right? We got 1 Temple of Deceit, 3 Watery Graves, 4 Overgrown Tombs, 4 Temples of Malady, or Temples of Malady, if you want to go that way, 4 Breeding Pools, 2 Temples of Mystery, and to filter out and get more discard stuff, or more cards in the graveyard, as well as getting out those lands that we need, 4 Fabled Passages. Not bad. But let's take a look at the sideboard, shall we? So, in the sideboard, we have 2 Disfigures. The Disfigures, again, of course, come in against mono red decks, mono white decks, mono black decks, anything that has something that comes out really quickly. You need to deal with a lot of creatures really fast. 1 Mystic Repeal, which, Disfigure is 1 black, and it just gives target creature -2/-2 until end of turn. Mystic Repeal, 1 green, put target enchantment on the bottom of its owner library. We only run 1. I have yet to use it. I've put it in my sideboard, but I have yet to be able to use it. 2 more Aether Gusts to go up against those mono-red decks, mono-green decks, or the red-green decks, or anything to do with Grixis and stuff like that. It's also a nice card to side out if you know you're going up against a mono-white, or white-blue, or white-black, things like that. 4 Mystical Disputes, and that's because we don't like control decks, and we don't like anything blue, so we like to keep those around. 4 Enter the God Eternals, and this is to deal with those heavy creature decks. Life gain is always important against those. And again, Thought Distortion. I have had someone scoop by casting this card. Thought Distortion just destroys control deck's hands. Gets rid of all of the it costs 6, so it's pretty hefty, but bonuses can't be countered. So it's 2 black, 4 colorless. Target opponent reveals their hand, exile all non-creature, non-land cards from that player's hand and graveyard. So that does help as well. And then we have one more Casualty of War in the sideboard, which is 2 green, 2 black, 2 colorless. Now the sideboard can differ. I'm thinking about adding maybe a negate or 2, because I'm finding that the Mystical Disputes are not necessarily the things that are helping me out the most. Get rid of the Mystic Repeal and 1 Enter the God Eternals for it. The sideboard is always stuff that you can futz with. It's not something that necessarily is dire. You can always change around. But that's this deck. So we got this. Like I said, it's best of 3, so I'm going to try and go ahead and get into the games and see how things go. Alright, let's give this another shot. We're going up against Hootie Hoot. Mark and Brian fan, I believe. And then this is good. Yeah. So we're gonna get yeah. Of course, mono red. So let's go ahead and get rid of. Well, we're gonna get rid of the Steam. Ooh, you know what? We're gonna get rid of the Embercleave. We're gonna keep that. Now, why did I not get rid of the Steamkin? Well, the reason why is I'm not afraid of said Steamkin, because we need to get rid of those 2 things. Those 2 things are important. So, if we can survive, which we're gonna try, I mean, we're only gaining 1, but Massacre Girl comes down next turn and just completely decimates them. So, if we're unlucky, they drew an Embercleave. Not unlucky. We're unlucky, so that's that. Okay. So, Ritual Soot, Disfigure, God Eternals, Assassin's Trophy. So, Paradise Druid comes out. Aethergust stays in. Get rid of the Thought Erasure. We get to add 1 thing. Alright, we're doing good. So, the best thing that you can do with decks like RDW, of course, is... Okay, so that Steamkin is going to go away. So what we're going to do is it's preventing preventing life loss and preventing damage from creatures. So we're going to go ahead and just get rid of that right now. And they get a red land. So, Planeswalker, land, creature. Sorry, creature. Robber of the Rich. This is where that Ritual of Soot come in handy. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. All right. Land and land! Oh! That was a whiff. He's still gonna attack. He's not gonna attack. Alright. Well. I mean, that's a thing. Another land. Okay. Embercleave. Okay. So we're going to swing for 3. But we're not doing anything crazy. So and we took no damage. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Submit. Oh, This is gonna be good. You guys ready for this? Do that. Do that. Oops. There we go. Because now I start gaining life. Well, and also I just have Nissa pop up and, hey, look at that, it's 12 damage. So we're going to stick with this. I think this is good. Not much else I can do. That Aether Gust was well timed. Heart of the cards! Come on, Hootie, and your red deck wins. What's kind of bothering me a little bit is that I haven't been drawing a lot of Uro. It's just been the one. And I have 4 of him. Come on. This is a great hand if I get land, but there's no guarantees, so we're gonna mulligan. And this is better. We are going to get rid of the... We're going to get rid of the land. There is a reason. This deck runs a lot of land, so it's very rare that I get mana screwed. More often than not, I get mana flooded. Like that. That was another land. Gotta thank them for that. So we're gonna pause that. We're gonna see what they're gonna bring down next. So we're just gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Aha! See, okay. This is where it starts getting annoying for them. Who's he gonna lock it onto? Okay, we just gotta survive to next turn. Which, this isn't gonna mitigate a lot of damage, but it's gonna mitigate some. Now, I can just take the 4? You know what, I'm gonna just take the 4. Yeah. Alright. Oh. Well, that's a problem. 6, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and that is game, ladies and gentlemen. Sephiroth! Play first. This is good. Mulligan twice. We will keep that. I have a feeling we're playing them. Oh, which Uro are you going to get rid of? The left or the right? You got rid of the left one. Why did you choose the left one? Yeah, we're playing. This is a mirror match. So, I'm gonna play down Water Grave. Overgrown Tomb. That wasn't very nice of you. Oh boy, that was not very nice. So, we're playing a mirror match. So, we're gonna need the Mystical Disputes, the Negates, and Assassin Trophies. So, we're gonna take out... We're gonna take out the Aether Gusts. Artress. There we go. This deck can get out of hand really quickly, unfortunately. And with him dropping a bunch of stuff into my graveyard, Uro is coming out pretty fast as well. It also didn't help that they had to mulligan down 5. You don't like to see them do that, but it's kind of one of those things like, yes, please. Please mulligan more. Oh, wow. We have 28 land and we get 1 in our opening hand. That is a mulligan. This is also a mulligan. This is a keep. And we win. What? Oh, okay. Alrighty then. We got a Salvager Ruin and an Ashiok. That was a thing. Oh, look at this. Bam. Let's claim that. But that is all the time I have for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt. This is CyberDemon Gaming. And I hope you guys join me again. We didn't win a bunch this time, but the gameplay was actually nice. I'm not going to show you that I win all the time, but hopefully you enjoyed this. And I hope you come back for another deck and another few set of games. And let's see if we can make it to Diamond. Who knows? But with all that being said, I hope to see you in the next video.